Hello there, Alaskans, wherever you are. Welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show. Coming to you from somewhere in Alaska. This is the place where we talk about, you guessed it, Alaska. Where we keep the mainstream media on their toes and where we are standing up for what's right in a world run by leftists. You can find out more by heading over to mustreadalaska.com and also checking out the Must Read Alaska YouTube channel for some really great content. But first, let's get this party started.
So welcome everybody to the Must Read Alaska Show. I'm your host, John Quick, coming to you live from not somewhere in Alaska today. I am in Hawaii, living the dream with my lovely wife in the sun. And boy, do we have a treat for you today. We have President Whips of Palau today. And for those of you who have not heard about this country, you're going to hear all about it today. Welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show, President.
Well, thank you, John. And it's great to be able to reach out to our friends in America and all around the world through your show. I was listening to you that you're living a dream in Hawaii. We'd like to have you come and live in Palau for a while.
Hey, that would be awesome.
With the technology now, you can be anywhere and do your work.
Amen to that. So, President, for folks that this is their first time hearing about your country, which is one of the most beautiful places. If somebody goes and Googles Palau, they're going to see one of the most picturesque, beautiful island countries out there. Tell us a little bit about your country, and then we'll go into kind of how you got involved in politics and what you're up to these days.
Well, Palau is in the furthest corner of Asia because we're only 500 miles off the coast of the Philippines. Some of our islands are only 60 miles from Indonesia. So we are in the western corner of the Pacific. And because of our tropical climate and the convergence of currents here, Palau has been very blessed to have amazing underwater wildlife. And we have formations, we have atolls, we have what we call the rock islands, we have volcanic islands like Hawaii, kind of in a smaller scale, but we represent the whole Pacific in Palau. But public advocacy or involved in the government at a very young age. When my father, but also wanted to do what he could do to contribute to public service. And so one of the first experiences we had was when they were part of the Save Palau organization. And Save Palau was a group of young men in Palau that were concerned because a company out of New York wanted to build what they call the superport and build enough fuel storage, and they were going to build it on top of our pristine reefs. We have these northern reefs, and my dad at the time, connection is not good.
It's all right. I killed the video, Mr. President. We still have audio. It's just the connection was too.
Yeah, maybe without the video. Yeah.
So we'll keep going, but we'll just do it audio, and I think that'll do a little bit better. So keep going with your story, Mr. President.
Yeah, so at a very young age, my dad was interested in government and serving and, standing up for what he believed was right. And protecting our oceans, protecting our environment that God has blessed us with was important. And fortunately, I think the majority of the people decided our pristine reefs need to be protected. And maybe there's other ways we can use them. And with me, you'll see what we can do with it. So, translate that into the later years. My dad got involved in government, so he was once a delegate and then a senator. I had the opportunity of working as a special assistant to President Edpison in 1989, right out of college. And, it kind of helped me understand how government is. Coming from the private sector, you kind of get to do what you want, when you want it. And then you realize how slow government reacts and how hard it is to make change. but change is needed, and uh, you know, we believe that it is our duty to give back uh, to the people, and the best way to give back is through public service and sharing the talents that we have. So my background is in economics and finance, and running. I say that the government is the biggest business that's outrun our government, and they could run more efficiently and more. That journey till now, and of course, I got had a lot of changes that we've had to deal with. Of course, COVID was our biggest challenge because we depend so much on tourism. We've gotten through COVID, I think, successfully, and now it's about revitalizing our economy, bring tourists back like yourself, and join us in Palau. But
So
yeah,
tell me, Mr. President,
it's
about
exciting times. I think there's a lot of opportunity.
tell me, Mr. President, about your relationship with the U.S. You mentioned Don Young, Congressman Don Young, when we were chatting beforehand. Talk to me about how important it is for your country to have a good relationship with the U.S. and specifically how's it been with Alaska's delegates?
Yes. Well, Senator Murkowski, Congressman Don Young. Whenever I go to Washington, I've had an opportunity to visit with him. And then at one of my last visits there, I got to see Congressman Don Young before he departed. But, they were strong advocates in understanding the important relationship that Palau has with the United States. We are one of the three, what we call freely associated states. We have a compact with the United States that provides economic assistance, but also gives the U.S. really access for security purposes to Palau, controlling our skies and our seas, and then of course to currently they're building radar sites here in Palau to give them awareness of the whole region. This was a difficult relationship because Palau, we lived through World War II. This was a headquarters for the Japanese government at the time, and we didn't want to have to relive the war again. But we understand the strategic importance, and this relationship is really about partnering and working together to help the people of the United States and help the people of Palau. And every 15 years, we have what we call a compact review. So currently, Palau is in the midst of a review of the compact with the United States because ours expires in 2024. We have a lot of challenges, and most importantly, it's important that we can be able to dialogue. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So, sorry to cut you off. Our connection is struggling here, but I think it's important. I can fix most of that in after the interview is done. But talk to us a little bit about here in the U.S. we are constantly hearing climate change, and it's a political thing here in the U.S. It's one side is for it, one side's against it, one side thinks it's real, one side thinks it's fake. Talk to me about the realities of climate change
So
as you see
I've
them.
had the opportunity. Yeah, yeah. So for us, like your polar bears that are running out of ice to run on, we have the same problems here. We have our smaller islands, the ones I was talking about that are 60 miles off the coast of Indonesia. We have one that I know from 1980 visiting it, and now it's shrunk 2/3 in size. And I was there a couple years ago, and I was visiting, and of course, it's one of the beaches that lots of turtles come up to nest. And because the beach is no longer the size it used to be, turtles have to go back to where they uh, were born. They were there nesting, and since it's so crowded, they had to nest in an area where the tidal zone would be too high and the eggs would not survive. And when we were talking to the rangers, that's kind of the trend. Is you know we see those islands disappearing. In fact, a couple months ago, The rangers reported that make sure they don't get washed away because the whole island was we live in every day. I mean, we see our docks being overrun. We see our taro swamps being full of seawater. And then most recently, we're talking about the ocean climate nexus, the warming of the waters. So the warming of the waters causes coral bleaching, which really affects our tourism industry, and also affects our jellyfish, which are very unique. You can swim with them; they're stingless. And I just happened to be with Assistant Secretary Cantor there 2 days ago. And the jellyfish are gone again. So we lost them 20 years ago. We lost them again five years later again. So climate change is changing everything from the marine habitat to the land. We've gotten hit with 3 typhoons in the last 10 years, which we never used to have. And one of our islands completely destroyed, no home left, including the school. So those people had to evacuate, and then we had to rebuild. But that's just the reality that we have, and that's why we advocate for everyone doing their part to make a difference. Reducing our dependence on fossil fuels is one of the things that we're pushing for in Palau to go 100% renewable. Why not make the transition? Our people are suffering right now because we're hostages to fossil fuels. We use diesel generators. The cost of power here has gone up 3 times, and it's really become unaffordable to people. And if we had solar, we could be producing at 1/3 that cost. So that's just, I think, the reality. We can make decisions that we all win together. We protect our planet, and I think ultimately the valuable biodiversity that we have. So it's just a little bit about Palau and climate change.
Nice. Well, Mr. President, tell me about what I think is the major industry in Palau, which is tourism. Talk to me about how important that is for your country, and why should somebody come visit Palau? I mean, it looks amazing, but give us a couple 1, 2, 3 punches of why a vacation in Palau would be epic for anybody listening.
Yeah, so Palau is probably most famous for diving. Everybody, if you say Blue Corner and you're a diver, it's one of those must dives in the world that you have to go to. We also have the unique jellyfish. Hopefully they will come back in a couple of years and be full bloom again. I mean, we went from 30 million to 0, and then back to 30 million and back to 0. So we're hoping that there's enough polyps down there that they'll bounce right back. But on the marine sides, and then we have what we call our rock islands, which are they're basically limestone rocks with beaches up against them. Very unique, and not like what you would see in Hawaii. And then we have our big island that looks like Hawaii. So that's why we have the atolls that are very much like the Marshall Islands. So in Palau, that's why we say you can see all the Pacific here. And we have a very unique culture. We have, of course, the Rock Islands are a World UNESCO site because of the people that lived on them 3,000 years ago. The burial sites, the hydroglyph, the paintings on the wall, caves and stuff like that. And then we have these terraces on our big island that they also date back over 3,000 years, and they're saying probably need to be also a World UNESCO site. We have traditional buildings, and we have lots of legends tied to the different things that have happened. So you get a mix of culture, environment, and we're very green because we got lots of forest, and and if you come to our waterfalls, we have waterfalls, not so big, but at least the water is warm, so you can swim in them. And, yeah, so that's one of the things about Palau. 85 degrees year round.
Wow.
Only difference is it's rain or sunshine. So for those of you in Alaska, when it's there's no sun and it's cold, please come to Palau.
Well, what are some things you hope to accomplish as president here in your first term? It's you've been a successful business guy. Your family's been successful in politics, it sounds like, and you've entered into your first term here as president. What are you hoping to accomplish, and what does the next couple of years look like to accomplish that?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that we have is that our children in Palau look to America as their only hope. So they continue to move from Palau to the U.S. in search of the American dream. In fact, there's many Palauans that live in Alaska now. And one of the things that I campaigned on was, we've got to make the Palauan dream at least equal or better than the American dream. And so that requires a lot of things. One, it's building a strong economy. Um, but one of the things that we were just able to pass through the Senate is getting people to understand that why do kids move to the U.S.? Well, you go there and the kids told us, how do you expect us to stay in Palau if it takes us 2 hours to buy a gallon of gas? So that's the real reality we have. And over the past 25 years of our special relationship with the United States, 50% of it we're looking at. To me, that's a security problem too, because as more people, so it's about building back a strong economy. Of course, tourism is at the core of it. We need more connectivity to the world. So one of the things I've been working on is we used to have flights direct from Guam, Japan, Taiwan, Korea, and Hong Kong, but those during COVID all went away. So now it's trying to rebuild those routes. We have flights coming from Guam again. We got flights from Manila. We got to rebuild Japan. We got to rebuild Taiwan. Now we're looking at new markets, bringing up flights from Australia, flights from Singapore. Looking at investment. There's a Four Seasons resort that wants to build a new hotel here, an Indigo resort, to really raise the level of facilities that are available in Palau. But is here because if staying in a hotel in Hawaii, the same hotels in Palau, Hawaii, they're paying the front desk workers $15 an hour. Why are we paying $3.50 an hour? I tell my people, we just need we need to raise the minimum wage so that the tourists, when they come and visit, we welcome them. But they should also make sure that the people that work are earning. A Nike factory moving to Indonesia, or it's always about low cost. But you also need to make sure that the people of the community benefit from these types of industries. The other thing we're trying to work on is the fishing industry. How do we make it local? How do the locals participate in it? How are they part of the value chain? And how do we get more back into the economy from the tuna industry? The other thing that we want to do is we want to definitely diversify our economy. We're thankful for the U.S. They've increased military activity here. That also provides economic opportunities. But at the same time, other industries like in the fintech industry, you have hubs like Singapore and you have Hong Kong. Well, Palau, being 5 hours from every major city in Asia, provides an opportunity that maybe Morgan Stanley or Chase or any of these big banks could operate businesses out of Palau and serve Asia. So we're looking at other ways of encouraging investment, especially U.S. investment. One of the projects that we're working on is trying to develop a Palau stable coin, a digital stable coin, and really using blockchain technology and leveraging that to create new industries and bring new entrepreneurs and new ideas into our small economy. We don't need a lot of people, but we want to make sure that whatever we do we don't destroy the beautiful environment that we've been gifted with and are responsible to give to the next generation. So
That's awesome, Mr. President.
With the tourism, and then yeah.
So, Mr. President, who's been a hero to you that you've looked up to over the years? You're the president of the country now, but sometimes it's lonely at the top. But everybody's got somebody that they look up to. Who's been that person in your life, and why?
Well, I'm very close to my father, and I really thank him for, you know, really spending time with us. And I've been fortunate that when I was elected, I'm probably one of the only presidents that was elected to Palau that has my father and mother both alive to be able to be here and support me. And it's their strong Christian values and their sense of duty that just inspires me to do all I can to help my people. My father always used a slogan that it's got to be about people first. That's what it's all about. So, we talk about the economy, but it's making sure systems so that we can develop our most valuable resource, which is our people. And, of course, I come from a business background. I've been in running government, like President Bush, yeah, because I think government is very much a business, and there's so much we can do to help our country with the talents that we have. So, I and allowing me to share our views from Palau.
Nice. Well, Mr. President, before we sign off here, do you have any last minute thoughts or words for folks that are going to potentially hear about you and your country for the first time?
Well, we just appreciate the partnership that we have with the United States, and what I want to encourage is that please, I know by plane we're 25 hours from Washington D.C. Now we're only 5 hours from every major destination in Asia, but let's not keep the distance. Let's not have the distance separate us. Let's use all our friends in Alaska to come and visit Palau and all over the U.S. It's about and promoting peace and prosperity around the world. I mean, we're a supporter of a free and open Indo-Pacific. We must stand behind that because democracy and freedom must reign. And just thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President. And for those of you that are listening on the live feed, and it's a little choppy, I promise I'll fix that before it goes off to the iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify world. So until next time from somewhere in Alaska, I'm John Quick signing off from Hawaii today. Thank you so much, Mr. President, and hope you have a marvelous rest of your day.
And you too. I hope to see you in Palau.